you can take tsunami travel times. The time it takes a tsunami to travel from its point of origin to different points around the globe, you can reconcile the tsunami travel times with spherical distances, and they match up. So every time we've got an independent a wave traveling from one point on Earth to another at a velocity that we can well estimate, the time it takes to get from that one point to the other well agrees with the spherical distance. And it confounds me that this simple reality is just being waved away as nothing is being claimed. It's a story.
It is a story.
Well, okay.
But it's really not a story.
Okay.
It's peer-reviewed science. That's the fucking opposite of a story. My God, honestly, you just saying it's a story is so disrespectful to literally every single person in the field of geophysics.
Well, no, I'm trying to get him to. I'm trying to get him to use language of stuff I'm familiar with, like that I've.
Well, okay. 1 + 1 is 2.
No, actually, may I address that?
Yeah.
It is not my responsibility. It is not my responsibility to present physical evidence in terms that you are comfortable with. Physical reality, science is about assessing the evidence we have, not the evidence we wish we had. So people want to say, I want to see the curve. Well, there are only a limited number of ways of seeing the curve, and you guys don't accept any of them.
Apparently you can see the curve across Lake Pontchartrain.
You can see,
it's not that hard.
Let me clarify. You can see the effects of curvature over Lake Pontchartrain.
No, that's semantics nonsense.
So you keep on asking for, I want to see this, I want this to happen, I want this explained to me in certain terms. That's not science's job. We have the evidence we have, and we're trying to work out what we can do, what we can work out about reality from that evidence. It's not our job to then transfer that and transform that evidence into something that you find persuasive. If you don't find it persuasive, then you're disabled. And that's sad. Yeah. I feel sorry for you. But it's not my job.
I feel sad that you guys don't think that 10 mile by 10 mile survey imaging some thousands of feet in the ground would matter whether the Earth is curved, like the ray tracer would not care about that.
Well, I can prove that it doesn't. So I can prove mathematically that it doesn't. So
which is, we agreed that maths is the only place that proof exists, right?
So what you're dealing with here is the comparative performance of two mathematical models. One in which you're doing the ray tracing assuming a flat Earth geometry, and the other one in which you are doing the ray tracing assuming a spherical geometry. And so you can look at the difference in performance between the two mathematical models, and the difference is tiny, less than the observational error of your geophones and clocks. So you can use a flat Earth model on that sort of scale. It doesn't matter. That's why flat Earth models are used. And let's turn it around. Okay, let's turn this around. You claim that sphericity should matter on these small timescales. How about if the Earth is flat, why don't you solve for earthquake locations using flat Earth seismic models? You seem to have the technical skills that will permit you to do this.
What are you
so
talking
you
about?
take.
Are you drunk? Are you?
No, I'm not drunk.
You're a moron, dude. Don't say stuff like that.
If you can address his points rather than just being a dick, that would be fantastic. He wants me to
go and start doing random seismology experiments as if I have access to this kind of thing, like this idiot.
Well, if other
he's asking you to mathematically model it.
Actually, there are the seismic arrival times for different events are publicly available in the IRIS catalogue. I suggest you the International Research Institutes of Seismology.
Anything you recommend is absolute nonsense from this point forward. So I can't listen to somebody this stupid.
So just because you don't understand, because you're too thick to understand, it means it's
because
nonsense.
He's making absurd, like, just go look at this book, whatever, go look, yeah. We're talking about specific things that
Mind of God, listen, hold on. I want to step in and speak for 1 second. When I asked him whether his thesis was fucking falsifiable or not, it was because you keep saying it's a story. Well, if it's just a story, let's talk about something that's not falsifiable, like the claim that God exists, right? That's not falsifiable. That is a story. What he's telling you is falsifiable, meaning you could go out there yourself. It doesn't mean that you have the equipment, but someone who has the equipment has done this before to verify what he said. If what he said was false, they would come back and go, no, you're wrong, and he wouldn't get awarded his PhD.
The whole point is that what I've gone through is essentially that, but just the narrow version.
No, you haven't.
So,
yes, you've done a tiny portion of the Earth. You cannot claim that in any meaningful sense that you can extrapolate from that to the global scale Earth. And whenever I say, look, there are global scale databases around, you just hand wave it away as a story, which is actually why I would like to go to my my other speciality, which is actually gravity fields.
Okay, just before we get there, I just want to check that we've got everyone back in the call. Hip Hop Hippie, you there? No, he still can't figure out how to use tech. Bob the Science Guy, I saw you joined.
Yep, Produce, I'm here.
Welcome, Bob. Thank you for joining. So we actually have experts in the field here.
Bob,
thank you for having me.
Yeah, experts in what, dude?
Like everything. I mean,
right. Sure.
So I'd like to talk about the concept that mass does not attract mass. As a geophysicist, and you may want to Google this, there is a thing called gravimetric mineral exploration, where people take gravimeters and they look at variations in Earth's gravity field at a particular altitude above the surface, and they use that information to infer the existence of density anomalies near Earth's surface. And mineral companies spend significant amounts of money using this as an exploration technique to locate subsurface ore bodies. Now, if your claim that mass does not attract mass is correct, why do people pay for training in this field? Obviously, they're completely unemployable. This skill is not useful in any practical sense. Not only do people train them, but companies actually build gravimeters and other people buy them. Why does that happen if the gravimeters are useless? Why do mineral companies waste their money on gravimetric mineral exploration, and why do other companies exist that offer these services? Money talks, bullshit walks is a phrase that my brother likes to use a lot. There's a lot of money that goes into gravimetric mineral exploration, and I'd like you to explain why that is.
What's it measuring?
It's measuring changes in gravitational acceleration. It's doing that using gravimeters. The gravimeters operate on a bunch of different principles. Most commonly, they have a non-conductive mass that is suspended between two springs, and it detects changes in the tension state of the spring.
It measures the tensions.
Yeah. So if there's a gravitational acceleration that is going to be slightly different due to different mineral deposits, the tension in that string, in the spring, will be able to tell you what force is being exerted due to the gravitational acceleration underneath it.
So it's
from the changes.
It's understanding mass, different types of, like, that's the part I'm confused. You're talking about different electrical properties or different mass?
All it's doing is measuring the difference in the weight of something is at different places on the planet.
Yeah,
local
that's right.
Value of little g. That's all it's effectively doing. It's all you need to think about. Because the value of g is
walk
the
me through that.
same all over the surface.
Hip Hop Hippie, you there?
Which is affected by the density underneath the density of the ground directly
and also
underneath
your latitude.
it. And that's what he's saying is they can.
Yes, also your latitude.
So that's what he's saying.
There are other effects that need to be taken into account. You're quite right, Rumpus. Thank you.
Which, mind of God, you would have to explain why we would need to also take into account our latitude, which is it's directly related to the spin of the Earth.
Are you talking in terms of this gravitometer or whatever, or just what are you talking
yes,
about?
the gravimetric readings.
Because this thing is so sensitive that it can actually the spin of the Earth, the centrifugal force of the spin of the Earth, actually makes a difference on these machines. They're that sensitive.
Yeah, it's worth.
I still haven't gotten a clear understanding what it's measuring.
I just
it